A little post out about how to lose, I think it was 10 pounds in a week, and y'all shared a lot of information. So I think a week is a little bit pushing it to lose 10 pounds because the level of discipline you have to use, and a lot of that's just water weight in the first week that you're going to lose on any diet. It doesn't matter what you do. So I think 10 pounds in 2 weeks is completely doable. It takes a little bit of motivation, a little bit of stick-to-itiveness, if you will, but it's totally doable. But the trick is the sustainability. So I want to share with you what my thoughts are on this. You guys shared lots of things. One person even said cut off a body part. I said just put down my purse. My purse weighs a ton. So I want to share my perspective on this. And I don't like to think of myself as a weight loss doctor. I think of myself as a metabolic hormone wellness doctor, hormone queen. So everything that I do is tied into hormones. I really just want you to feel better. And I don't look at people as being fat. I look at them as being inflamed. So you have to look at things to ways to take off the inflammation. And I love to share with people where you distribute your body fat says a lot about the hormone imbalance that's triggering what's going on with you. So first of all, you have to identify where you're storing your weight. And once you've identified where you store your weight, then you can start to make an impact on how to undo that, because weight gain is your body's protective mechanism to store toxins away from your internal organs. So if you have a lot of stress, cortisol is the stress hormone, right? Those people are going to have big bellies. And they're going to store almost everything, this my little person here, in the belly. So we call that belly fat. So this is a cortisol belly. So if you don't address cortisol and everything related to hormones, if you don't address cortisol and stress, which we use a lot of supplements to do that as well as emotional stress, there's physical stress, there's food stress. If you don't address that, you might lose the weight, you might lose the 10 pounds, but you don't do anything to change that. I always say it's not one thing that gets you overweight or unhealthy, it's a lot of things. So you have to change all of those things. But if you don't address that, the weight just comes right back on when you start going back to your regular life. So this is really about a lifestyle change and an awareness, because what this information does is it empowers you to be able to get that weight off and keep it off. So this is a cortisol belly. This is a stress adrenal weight distribution. If you are kind of boxy and overweight, but boxy, this is a thyroid type body type. You store your weight because your overall metabolism is pretty much shut down. If you're a woman that has, this is going to be tricky to do that there, but if you're a woman who has big hips, but everything else is skinny, big hips is an estrogen issue. So if you have female hormone issues, like with your menstrual cycles, then you have to address the estrogen issues if that's where you gain your weight, and sometimes in the legs a little bit there too. If you're a guy with just a kind of a beer belly looking thing, that's usually a low T issue, low testosterone issue. So this is probably one of the easiest things to address. And then if you're just kind of big and puffy, kind of like I call it the Michelin man, kind of big all over, this is an insulin or blood sugar issue. And so I kind of like to just kind of address everything almost like it's an insulin issue, because if you're overweight, usually you do have an insulin issue. And I just talked to a lady this morning who has been working with me, and we had to go through and do a whole look at her, everything that she was eating, a food diary we're going to start, because what's happening is she's not cutting down her carbohydrates. She's really struggling with that. So I want to talk about different ways that you can address things. And if you're not losing weight, or you've really had a challenge, we might have to look at a primary hormone issue that you might have. The next thing that I'd like to look at is nutrition. What are you eating? So one of the biggest things is carbohydrates. And so when I work with people, I tell them that you drastically have to decrease the sugar in your diet, because sugar has such an inflammatory effect, nothing else. And it can trigger insulin, so it can be a problem. So one of the things that I do is tell people that these are what I call the sinful 7, and these all will put inflammation on you. Gluten is huge. I did a whole video on gluten, so you might want to go back and watch that. But one of the problems with gluten is is that gluten is in things like breads and pastas, which have a high amount of carbohydrate or sugar content. And so getting the gluten out will also get a lot of the sugar out. I also did a video on artificial sweeteners, and these are very inflammatory and can cause all sorts of issues, plus they cause insulin resistance. So you got to get rid of the artificial sweeteners, so those two guys together. Dairy is a big inflammatory food as well. Corn, soy, peanuts, and tomatoes. So those are the 7 that you want to cut out. The next thing that you want to do is you want to do something called intermittent fasting. And I love this. There is a website, if you like coffee, Bulletproof Coffee Guy, Dave Asprey. He has a lot of intermittent fasting meal plans and things like that. But basically what you want to do is you want to eat in 12-hour windows. So like let's say you get up at 8 a.m., then by 8 p.m. you stop eating and you eat every 3 hours protein in this small little window. And never, never, never eat any sugar until noon. Very important, because what happens is, especially if you have insulin issues, when you eat sugar first thing in the morning, the insulin comes to lower that sugar, and then you're chasing sugar and insulin levels all day long, and your metabolism will never, never, never catch up. So very important. I wake up first thing in the morning, and I have my protein shake, and our protein shake, if you want to order, I think you can order it online, but anyway, it's really important to get a isolated whey or hydrolysate whey. And what that does is it slows down all the blood sugar that you've made through the night, because your liver makes sugar in the night. So it helps absorb some of that sugar first thing in the morning. And then you don't want to eat any sugar till about noon, and then you can start introducing some natural sugars into the diet. Like you can have a little honey, or you can have a few carbohydrates in other sources as well, like in vegetables and things like that. So that's nutrition, and we do food sensitivity testing. So what I usually do is I have people actually get blood tested for the foods that cause inflammation, and then make recommendations. Of course, we take the sugar out too, but then make recommendations based on their actual blood and individualized meal plans. That's a great thing. The other thing that I want to mention is sleep. Sleep is very important. So whatever you need to do to what we call sleep hygiene, turn out the lights in the room, make sure that you get at least 7 hours of sleep. And I don't always do that, so I try to practice what I preach, but I write at night, so sometimes I'm going on 5 or 6 hours, and so today's one of those days, so I'm not at the top of my game today, but sleep is really, really important to reset your metabolism at night. If you're very overweight, you might want to get evaluated for sleep apnea. The Biggest Loser, that show, they always evaluate for sleep apnea, because they know that if people need a CPAP machine or they need help with their sleep, that their metabolism is not going to work as well, and they're not going to lose the weight, and they're not going to be successful. So sleep is very important. Fitness, I'm not going to do a whole lot about fitness, because I'll do a whole video just on fitness for you, but I love HIIT, high intensity interval training. And what is this? Well, there's a guy named Dr. Tabata who's an exercise physiologist, and he found that at as little as 4 minutes, 3 times a week, that he could reverse insulin resistance or diabetes. And so basically what this does is when you're, let's say, what I like to do is get on the elliptical. So I'll get on the elliptical, and it takes me about 11 minutes to do it, because I still have a little bit of a refractory rest time that I have to take. So I'll get on there, I'll warm up a little bit, and then I'll get the RPM, or whatever they call the miles per hour, up to like 20 miles an hour. So I'm literally going like 20 miles an hour. And I'll do that for 20 or 30 seconds. I usually try to get 30 seconds if I can. And then it takes me about a minute and a half of rest, going 20 or 30 seconds really, really hard. I mean, so hard like you're being chased by a bear. And then I'll rest. And I do 4 of those intervals, and it takes me about 11 minutes. Now, it took me 15 when I first started, because I needed a longer rest period in between. Ideally, it would be great if you could go 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off. But if you're really going hard, it's hard. You need more rest time in between. So it'll take you a little time to work up to that. But the good thing about interval training is that while you're doing it, it is burning fat. But it also burns fat afterwards. So if you just go for a walk or you're just going for a run aerobically, you're only burning fat during the time that you're doing that exercise. Interval training burns for you 24/7, which is wonderful. It just keeps burning because it works with your hormones to actually do that. It lowers your insulin resistance. So it's kind of like this, kind of our ancestors, we sprinted, we ran from tigers, and then we rested. And so we also ate protein. So we need to go back to kind of our ancestry, right? Like our early days when we didn't have all this processed food and all this sugar, and kind of mimic that lifestyle. And the weight will come off very, very fast when you do that. Also, you need to address stress. If you have a stressful situation in your life, this is a great time to do some reevaluation. I'm not saying go get divorced or quit your job, but I am saying that you really need to prioritize it. Maybe downsize, think about changing some things in your life, because stress, emotional stress is huge. Food stress is very big as well. So get those toxins out of your environment as much as possible. And then supplements. What supplements can actually help you with weight loss? Well, I actually like a little caffeine. A little caffeine's okay, especially if you're going to the gym. So if you have a cup of coffee, if you do the bulletproof coffee plan, you can put like some MCT oil in there or something like that. The little caffeine is okay. It can increase your metabolism a little bit. I love white kidney bean extract. White kidney bean extract actually works with insulin and sugar, insulin resistance, and it will actually block those carbs. So usually take it 2 to 3 times a day. You can get it at metagenics.com is a site I use a lot. There's also a company that I absolutely love that is called lifeextension.com. You can get white kidney bean. You probably just get it at any health food store. I also love chromium and cinnamon, if cinnamon's not on your food allergies as well. So chromium and cinnamon are very good. And these help your insulin resistance, so this can really help as well. And then I love green tea. Green tea is a metabolic booster. It can be really helpful. And then a protein shake is so important. And especially if you're busy and don't have time to meal plan a lot, a really easy thing just to have a protein shake. We have a great protein shake. BetterLivingRx.com/supplements. You can order our protein shakes, or come see me and I'll put a program together for you. But this is kind of the crux in what I do every day, and I help people and get that weight off pretty fast. Now, usually what I do is I have people commit to about 21 days. We call it the detox, and we start cleaning things up. But you could lose about 10 pounds in 2 weeks if you do this very, very strict. Now, it does take, again, a little bit of motivation and a little bit of commitment, and you have to really commit to this. So I say focus on your why. Why do you want this? Why do you want to get this weight off? And then, maybe that you want to feel better, you want to have more energy, you want to look better, summer's coming. So focus on the why. And then when these little habits of these things kind of start to weigh on you a little bit, you'll remember and stay positive and stay focused on the why. And then, of course, I really believe in getting all those hormones checked. Thyroid can have a huge impact on your body's ability to release that weight and things like that. But this is a really easy thing to try right out of the gate, and then if you need help with that, please let me know. So hope this was helpful. And all you guys, you're never wrong with anything that you say, and I love all your comments. So please keep sharing. We have so much more coming, and I'll keep posting. And please share this video right now if you're watching it. And I love you all, and I want you to have a very blessed and healthy life. And these are the things that I do, and these are the things that help my patients. So I really want you to have that sustainability, because if you yo-yo and you just get that weight off and you put it back on, it doesn't help you. There's lots of these stars, like Matthew McConaughey put on like 60 pounds for his new role in that Gold movie. And it's like, they're, doing so much harm to their bodies, just gaining and losing. So please take care of yourself and stay a healthy balance. It's all about a new lifestyle, so don't think about what you're depriving yourself from, but think about all the options that you have available. And then after you do this, you can start reintroducing a few of these things, and you can kind of play with that and see how you feel when you reintroduce these things. But removing these things from your diet will be huge. And again, a good protein shake is really important when you're trying to get that weight off in the beginning. So anyway, have a blessed day, and tomorrow, I can't remember what video I was going to do. Oh, GMO. What is GMO and why you maybe should avoid it. So, all right. Love y'all. Have a blessed day. See you soon. Bye-bye.